place in different forms, and it comes in different ways. We understand that. But then we are only concerned, as it is right now, about this great nation called Nigeria. And almost every regions in Nigeria is bedeviled by insecurity. Different cases, by the way, the dimensions are quite different. But then, in fact, security experts will tell you, possibly we might never get to that point where we will have zero, cases of insecurity and some of this breach. But then when it becomes regular, when there is a pattern, when it comes on a very colossal, devastating way, everybody will be worried. I am worried. We are worried. Nigerians are worried. And sometimes it will look like we are making some progress, and lots of the government will say, oh, it used to be this X figure, the spate of cases, kidnappings, abductions, killings. Oh, we have shifted. We are now doing below that. But then just give it some time. Everything will just fall like a pack of cards, and it will appear like we are back where we have left, or even worse. And these are the issues, the agitations in the southeast, and the seat at home, and with some of those calling for emancipation there, the southwest with pockets of issues, and the south with its own peculiarity. But arguably, people will talk about what is happening in the north central, in the Benue axis, in the Kogi axis, some part of Plateau, killings in Plateau. And then you talk about the northwest and the northeast, where it appeared like we have made significant changes. In fact, like a month or two ago, the president in the meeting with some of his governors and high-ranking officials, categorically said, I'm happy. It seems the sun is shining again. The farmers are going back to farm. He mentioned communities in Kaduna, possibly in Yobe and in Borno State. But right now, just a few days ago, the governor of Borno State was lamenting. He had a meeting actually at, an expanded, they call it a special expanded security meeting in the government house, which saw the attendance of General Officer Commanding 7th Division, Major General Babagana Haruna, sector commanders, commissioner of police, heads of other security agencies, and traditional rulers. And the governor, that's Babagana Zulum, expressed dissatisfaction with the current security situation in the state, while insisting that the renewed Boko Haram attacks and kidnappings in many communities almost on a daily basis without confrontation. That's the issue. Without confrontation, signal that Borno State is losing ground. I'll allow you, get a hang of what Governor Zulum said, and then our guest, will give us a sense of what is happening.
The escalation of Boko Haram attacks across the state is a matter of utmost concern. There is urgent need for aggressive military action and actionable intelligence to counter the insurgency. The recent attacks on Savongari, Dambwa, Wulgo, Baga, and Munguno point to the need to up our ante in confronting the Boko Haram insurgency decisively and swiftly. I call on our armed forces to not only mount checkpoints and guard our towns and villages. I also call on our armed forces to take the battle to the enemy. I also call on our armed forces to take the battle to the enemy. We should not grant breathing space to the Boko Haram to regroup, rearm, and carry out attacks on our territory. By engaging in relentless patrols, picketing, and decapitation missions, our troops should defeat and end the insurgency in time so that our recovery plan will progress without let or hindrance.
All right, that was, the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, who has been in the theater of war practically for years, and the man is lamenting. The Sheikh of Borno, followed what he said, the emir there, to say, we are losing ground, what is happening. And when the governor says, these guys are roaming free, and it seems he's unabated, no confrontation at all. So what is really happening? We have with us today someone that has been in the field of security professionally and by every standard. and Startimes as well. He was an assistant director, though, yes, retired, definitely, with the Department of State Services, DSS, Mr. Dennis Amakre, MON. He joins us virtually. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
But let's get to it, Mr. Amakre. First, I need your impression. You are the professional here. You have worked, served this country. You have been at the helm of intelligence, discussions, high-level meetings. Even when you are retired, you are still concerned about this nation. Today is Friday, this month of April, year 2025. As of now, what do you make of our situation in the country? Where are we? Before we now narrow it down to what Governor Zulum said, that we are losing ground.
Thank you very much for having me. This topic of insecurity in Nigeria has festered for so long. And let me give you a pictorial view of what is happening. It's like a house under siege. A house under siege, because right now, the Nigerian state itself, we're having, the Boko Haram incursion in northeast. We have bandits in the north, central and northwest. In the southeast, we have agitations for people, separatist agitations. And then, of course, in the southwest, we also have, headsmen actually coming in and causing problems there. And in the south, we still have the very, very serious militancy, and then, of course, the protection of the critical infrastructures that are in the Niger Delta. Many people don't even look at it, because I think that's the number one problem we have in the Niger Delta, because that's where the economy of Nigeria is fueled. And we need to give it more attention, more attention. And so you find out that the house from all angles, we are surrounded by French-speaking countries. And then, of course, they are not very friendly. Niger and Burkina Faso and Mali has already formed, broken out of ECOWAS, and they formed the AES states in the Sahel. Cameroon is not very, very friendly, of course, we know that. And these are the issues. And the porous borders in the north, where all kinds of foreign adventurers, are trying to come in freely and go out freely, and then, of course, cause havoc for the country. The security agents are busy because we are not many, and they've been trying their best, but thinly spread. Meanwhile, our politicians sometimes behave as if they don't care, and that's where we are. This is a picture of exactly what we have on ground.
Mm-hmm. All right. And, when a governor like Babagana Zulum, who has been in this battle, in fact, he became governor into this battle against insecurity, he has always been there. Even during his first time, he's still there. And he called that expanded security meeting to say, we are losing ground. Many persons will say, if it has been an opposition party state, one might put politics and all of those things. But it seems this is not about politics. This is not about party right now. The man is tired, and he's saying what he's seeing. Sheikh of Borno has corroborated it and saying this is the issue. And when the governor says, it seems there is no confrontation at all. What is the issue here? Are the military overstretched? Are they tired themselves? Or, a layman, somebody in Enugu, somebody in Oshogbo, where we are, who is not into security, will say, how come the military will say we are neutralizing these people every day? Somebody in Pidgin will say, they know they finish. What exactly is the issue?
You're very right. Your last statement, captures the whole thing. They know the finish, because I know that, they've killed a lot. And they've also killed a lot of our security personnel, soldiers, security, DSS people, police have been killed by these bandits and terrorists, and we've killed a lot of them. A lot of them have surrendered, and stuff like that. But the problem persists, and you've heard it. The governor has come out to say that we're losing ground. Well, what does that mean? It means that some of the areas that we have taken back from Boko Haram, when Jonathan was there, there were about 7 local governments that were occupied by Boko Haram, where they wanted to form caliphates and pin their flags down. And we took them back. Now, the Shehu of Borno, El Kanemi, has come out to tell us that we've lost 3. We've lost 3 of those local governments where you cannot go now because it's occupied by Boko Haram. So we're losing grounds. We got the grounds and we're losing them now. And then, of course, that meeting was very, very essential, very necessary, where all the security agencies have to be called in. And then, of course, they have to re-strategize, re-strategize and do what they have to do.
All right, Mr. Makri. You talked about Borno State. Like you said, the governor came out to say that they are losing ground. So far, they have lost 3 local government areas to terrorists. Now, before now, like you rightly mentioned, there was a time when about 7 local governments were being controlled by the terrorists. The military were able to beat them back and reclaim most of those grounds. Now the governor is crying out that he has lost 3 local government areas again to these terrorists. My question to you as a security expert is this: what factors, what precise factors do you think might be responsible for these terrorists gaining ground again? Do you see it as a failure of intelligence gathering or failure of the military in their responses? I mean, for instance, in the United States, we have a lot of security agencies. Let's take the FBI, for instance. On a daily basis, they are foiling attacks from terrorists. Let's bring it back to Nigeria here. Let's say the DSS, for instance. For us to win this fight against terrorism, we cannot overemphasize the importance of intelligence. In your own opinion as a security expert, do you see this as a failure of intelligence or military response, or both in this case?
Well, one thing I know is that the intelligence community, that is, when I say intelligence community, I'm talking about the DSS, the NIA, the military intelligence, all of them are doing their best. They are doing their best because, in fact, without them, we would have been in a deeper hole at this time, without them. But they are doing their best. But you see, intelligence works like this. It's one that when I gather information and process it to become intelligence, and then I disseminate it to the appropriate persons that are supposed to use it. If they don't use it, then it becomes useless. It becomes useless. So I know that the security agencies have been given intelligence, because without intelligence, you cannot prosecute a war.
Mr. Makri, let's get this straight. Sorry to cut in. Let us get this straight. You are saying the security agencies are doing their best, but apparently, as it is right now, their best is not good enough. But you made a point which I'm concerned about. You said it is one thing to gather intelligence and give reports. It's another thing for it to be implemented. Are you saying there might be problems in implementation of the recommendations of these security agencies in Nigeria?
Of course, there must be problems in implementation. And when I say problems in implementation, we're talking about, okay, let's take the army, for instance. You know, DSS collects information and then give it. Now, when I say collect information, it's not just like listening to radio or something like that. You know, DSS take risk in gathering intelligence, in gathering information which they process into intelligence. And sometimes it requires them going into enemy territory, you know, undercover, as you know, agents, and they go there, they collect it at the risk of their lives, and they bring it out, they give it to the military or whoever that needs it. But you find out that the military itself is very, very thinly spread. Thinly spread in the sense that, you know, the whole military we have, army, police, you know, the whole of them, army, navy, air force, police, and NSCDC, DSS, all of them put together are not up to 2 million. In a country of 230 million, you know, so you find out that they are really overstretched. They are deployed into almost all the 36 states, you know, in Nigeria. And right now they said that, okay, we've had emergency, state of emergency in Rivers. We'll pack soldiers and we'll send them there. Meanwhile, their job is somewhere else. So, you know, either we are not deploying people very well out of our thinly, you know, our thin resources, we are not able to, you know, gather, put them in the appropriate place to fight the appropriate place. And of course, when some people are there for a very long time, they become weary, you know. They are supposed to be changed regularly, but we don't have that kind of numbers. So these are all the issues, small little issues that, you know, are facing us, and we have to look at it very, very closely.
But again, Mr. Macri, we cannot exonerate the security agencies because they are trained to do that. You talked about the operations they carry out, covert operations. Of course, they are trained to carry out covert operations. But again, the counter-terrorism strategies they are implementing is increasingly proving to be ineffective. I'm talking about facts here. So to the general public, what we see is that their counter-terrorism efforts are proving ineffective. What do you think is the cause of that? Of course, you said they are understaffed. We don't have a lot of people. Then what can they do in this case? What should the government of Nigeria be doing in this case? You're an expert. You can see all this. And I believe a lot of other experts are also giving reports to the government. At this point in time, okay, with the number of men we have, with the number of security agencies we have, what practical steps can be taken? What counter-terrorism strategies can be implemented to curb this rate of overtaken by Boko Haram, taking over territories in a sovereign state, called Nigeria?
Well, you will think that they are grossly inefficient or they are inadequate, we know. And inefficient, no, I don't think so, because I know the people that are in the intelligence community, you know. And then, of course, we know the military, you know, the military, one of the best in Africa. But think about it. If we have the best military in Africa, what is going on? Why is it that we're being confronted by ragtag bandits, you know, with all the kind of equipment we have? Equipment might not be adequate because we are thinly spread, you know. If the commander-in-chief of the armed forces say, okay, you will go here, go here, go here, they will not say, oh no, we have a serious issue in Borno, so we're not going there, let's go to Borno first. It doesn't work that way. Okay, it doesn't work that way. So they are thinly spread, and then of course they have to move according to what the commander-in-chief says. But think of this. Who is the commander-in-chief? The commander-in-chief is a politician who takes decisions according to political exigencies. So, you know, you'll find out that instead of sending an extra arms and ammunition to Borno or to Yobe, there is another problem that is coming up. Maybe some people are threatening to blow up the oil pipelines in the Niger Delta. So let us go down there and do it, and then they send people there. Remember, some of the military people and even the intelligence people are advisory. They are advising. They will advise the president, they will advise the governor, they will advise the people in the civilian, the politicians, and depending on how they use that intelligence will give us success.
Right. So
I can tell you one thing right now, clear, straight and forward. Politicians are one of the problems that's worrying the country. Because when we look at the threats that face the nation, we can talk about religion, we can talk about ethnicity, we can talk about all kinds of things, but one of the major ones that people don't understand are the politicians, because the way they behave or the way they shape things. You know, you were mentioning the United States. Look, find out what is going on here. The leader, you know, is the one that shapes the future. Look at what Trump is doing right now, you know, and he said America first, and then, of course, he's slamming tariffs all over the place. And, of course, all he's doing because he feels that the United States is going to gain. So he's the leader that is going to be held responsible because the buck stops on that leader's table.
Right.
It is not the security agents.
You know, so much for direction and leadership. But in this case, you have said politicians, possibly for political exigencies, might not go all in. But then the question is this, Mr. Makwe. In this case, Nigeria's president, as of now, is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Before him, Buhari. Before that, Jonathan. There has been issues of either the leaders have the political will to go all in. There were issues during Jonathan era in which they thought, many persons said, possibly it wasn't that given, and they possibly didn't recognize the enormity of what we were battling with at the time. During Buhari's time, many persons said, oh, maybe because he's from the north, and that's kind of narrative, and he doesn't want to go against his people. Of course, it's not the entire tribe that will be performing the criminal enterprise and all of those things, but these are some of these were some of the concerns then. Now that we have a Tinubu who is not from the northeast, who is not from the north central, is from the southwest, but then the place that they come from, does it really matter in all of these? And the politics that they play. Now, President Tinubu, if you can see here, Mr. He is the CNC, and then he still has a duty. He swore an oath to protect the people of Nigeria. In this case, let's talk about Tinubu is the one there right now. Does it look to you now, at least you're out of service, you have seen things within, you have seen things from afar, and you still have your sources. Does the President Bola Tinubu look like the leader that has the political will to go all in and give it all it takes to make the Nigerian people safe in reality?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm trying to switch equipment here.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 minute.
All right. Right. And it's one that we need to really, many persons have talked about what politics do to us as a people and the kind of actions or inactions that happens, especially when we want to calculate political exigencies. But then we will still talk about this more. We'll go on a quick break right now. When we return, The conversation will continue and we'll start from that point. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. And we're talking about this rise in the speed of insecurity in Nigeria. We have with us a retired Assistant Director of the DSS, Mr. Dennis Amakri, MON rather. Thank you for staying with us, Mr. Amakri.
Thank you.
Yes, before the break, I was trying to ask, you have been on the inside. You have seen, you have worked, instructed, received instructions, and you know how it works, at the highest level of intelligence in Nigeria. Now, you are out of service. You can see from afar. I'm sure you still have your sources within and outside of the service. And with what you have seen so far, we talked about leadership and everything rising and falling. Does President Bola Ahmed Tinubu looks like the leader? Yes, he's a politician, but he has a duty. He swore an oath to defend Nigeria's people and integrity. Now, does he look like the leader that can go all in, irrespective of whose horse is God?
Okay. All right. You want me to respond to that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, one thing, again, when I say politicians, I didn't say the president himself.
Right.
He's the leader. He's the leader, leading a whole bunch of politicians, and he's leading 36 governors, 774 local government chairmen, and all these people. What they do on a daily basis affect the country, and you find out that if the leader is, very, very strong and purposeful, of course, his vision is what will be carried out across the board. But we also operate a democracy where elected people are, officially like independent. In the United States here, you find out that the governor, don't have to take instructions from the president because, whether they're the same party or not, he was elected by that state, and they have their Senate, they have everything, their Supreme Court, So it is one that is federated very well. But in Nigeria, we have a situation where our democracy or our federation is not working properly. It's not working properly. And maybe it's because of the constitution that we have, because the federating units are not acting as federating units. The three arms of government are not acting like three arms of government. The three arms, which is the executive, the legislature, and of course the judiciary, because immediately one is not checkmating the other one, then it becomes like a monarchy or something like that. Because if there is anything the president wants to do, the legislature will come out, oppose it, they will debate it, vote on it, and the majority will win. That's how democracies work. But it's not because those in favor say aye, those say no, and then everything, the A's have it. So anybody who shouts more than the other person have it.
I understand the system, actually, Mr. Amakri. I'm only saying the president in this case is the CNC, is the commander-in-chief. The governors doesn't, control any arm of any form of security apparatus in Nigeria. Does the president, in this case, nationally, does it look like the person, what you have seen so far, almost 2 years in charge, like the person who would damn any political consequences to protect his people? That's just what I'm asking.
Well, he's doing what he can do. You are also watching. I am watching from a very far land, with a bird's eye view on what is happening in Nigeria, but it has not been satisfactory, whereby we don't know yet. He might be strategizing
on what he wants to do, and maybe he will take us to the promised land. But like I said, this Boko Haram thing has festered, it has been there, it has, festered for a long, long time, more than a decade. And I think the president, the intelligence community will still advise the president that, look, this thing is becoming a problem, and we want you to support the security agencies and make, a run for it, so that we take it out. It might not finish, just like you said in your intro. Security problems don't vanish. They will be decimated to the smallest minimal units. So that's where we are. But I feel that we are not giving it the attention that it should be given.
All right, Mr. Makri. You talked about your confidence and your faith in the security agencies in Nigeria, and I admire your confidence and faith in them. You're a security expert yourself. My question to you is this: do you think that our security agencies are capable, that they have all it takes to face insurgency in Nigeria? Or don't you think we might need some form of international cooperation, strategic partnership with foreign security agencies? But there was a time the United States of America actually offered to help. If Nigeria is willing to invite them, that they are ready to help us fight Boko Haram terrorists. Well, we also have countries like Israel who might also be willing to help Nigeria. So in your own opinion, are you saying that our security agencies are capable and can deal with it on their own? Or do you think we also need some form of international partnerships, strategic partnerships in this case, to fight insurgency in Nigeria?
Of course, there is no country that will not require external help, because one of the areas where we can mitigate this insurgency is by having international cooperation. International cooperation, good working relationship with our neighbors like Cameroon, Niger, Chad, the joint military task force that we are using. In fact, some of them, because, and that's what I'm saying, that the way we manage these things matters, the way we manage it, because now Chad and Niger are even trying to pull out of the military, international military joint task force from, the one that is operating and then pursuing the bandits and terrorists. Now, there is nothing stopping us from also getting external help. Remember, when 7 local governments were taken over by Boko Haram, what did President Jonathan do? At that time, he brought a PMC, a private military contractor, and executive outcomes, went in there, and within 2 weeks, they flushed them out. And in Nigeria, of course, sometimes the military will be very, not very cooperative.
Because of their ego. Can we attribute that to their ego?
Of course. Ego, national pride, and all those kind of things where they feel like, we are here and these guys are coming to, remember, when they come, they pay them heavily to do the same job, so how can we can do it, but you need this help. Even the United States, with the largest army, in the world, they use Blackwater when they were in Afghanistan.
Absolutely, private security firm.
Yeah. Yes, it's a PMC, and they use that one in taking care of the situation, and because of human rights abuses, sometimes these PMCs are not advised, because of what they did, the United States have to cancel their contract. But the one in Boko Haram in Nigeria, I think the contract was canceled for executive outcomes because we maybe politically, because when President Buhari won the election and came in, one of the first things he did was to cancel the contract. You know, and if he allowed them to continue, they would have flushed them out. But because of political exigencies, like I mentioned to you earlier, you know, you find out that they have to cancel contract because the previous, and it happens everywhere in politics.
Oh, sorry to cut in, Mr. Makri. As a security expert, does it make any sense to you that because of political exigencies, a president has to cancel a contract that is actually performing? Does it make any sense to you, any logical sense?
It doesn't make any sense to me at all, but it happens. You know, it happens. Even in the United States here, when President Donald Trump came into power, he started dismantling whatever Biden did or what Obama did. Listen to him, you hear him. Anything that happens, in fact, a plane crashed here. And it crashed because of the kind of people that the Democrats have employed, you know. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. But politicians play this kind of politics, you know, where they'll say, oh, if something go wrong, they'll say it's the previous administration that did it. You know, if we were here, we would have done it better. But you are the one sitting down there.
Absolutely.
You know, so those are the kinds of intricate variables we have to deal with.
All right, Mr. Makri, just before my colleague comes in right now, I would like to ask you, as it is right now, we have 3 local government areas in Borno State being controlled by terrorists. In your opinion as an expert, what immediate steps should the Nigerian government be taking right now to regain those territories?
First of all, the best thing to do, number one, we have to equip them. We have to equip them. The Nigerian army that is in that area, and then the security agencies, you know, let them renew all their agents that they have in the area to gather more intelligence. And then, of course, let them have new equipment. We have some equipment in the country, but I think they are deployed to other areas. Why don't we just concentrate on the Northeast, finish that before we go and start looking for other problems? But, you know, the strategists have their own plans. I am not a military strategist, but they can do that. The second thing is that they can employ a PMC. They can employ a PMC. There is nothing proud about that, you know, or ego massaging anybody's ego. They come in there, they do their job, they go away, you know. And then, of course, you don't even have to advertise it. They will come in there, they will do what they have to do, and they get out. Before even people know about it, they're out. And then you can take the glory. So these are things that immediately they can do. And then, of course, looking at the human side of it, there's a lot of humanitarian problems that we're having. You know, the IDP camps are, you know, increasing. And as they're increasing, humanitarian aid that is going in there, people are becoming rich off it. You know, because they are not closely monitored. Whatever monies that are going in there are being used one way or the other for contractors are trying to be rich and, in fact, making sure that this war continue. Because if it stops, they're going to lose their livelihood. So they want it to continue. These have to be good.
Right. Now, we still have a lot of things, you know, to talk about. Number one, I have like 3 or 4 of them. It is a line of questions. You talked about weapons and all of it. Are we really lacking in weapons? Because I'm sure even when we don't have the money or the will to do it the way the US would do it, the UK, the China of this world, some would say some huge, you know, monies have been voted to arm the military. They are Apache helicopters. Many of them have been deposited for. We have taken, hold. Many of them have been delivered. The Tucanos and all of these. And many Nigerians are asking, Mr. Makri, we have not really been seeing them. Or is it because we are just, civilians? We can't identify them. How about the Tucanos? Are they just lying low there? Because I know, we have taken delivery of some of these equipment, and we are still talking about army. How exactly have we used the ones that we have?
Well, the thing is that you answered the question yourself. You're a civilian, so right. You don't even know. You might not understand what is going on. But I can give you an insight. We have the Tucanos that we got from the United States, Apache helicopters and stuff like that. But the face of war is changing. The face of war is changing these days. Rarely do you see even, look at the war that is going on in Ukraine. You don't have Tucano jets flying around there and shooting down or doing all that kind of thing. Those kind of equipment we have are outdated already. Warfare right now is concentrated on drones, drones. Unmanned drones.
Are you saying the Tucanos are outdated? We spent quite a huge sum of money.
Let me rephrase that. Not that they're outdated, but they are not fit for what we are trying to do right now. They are not exactly fit for the kind of insurgency that we want to deal with. They can still use them because sometimes they get intelligence of groupings of where they are, and they go there and they bomb them out. Remember, there is one that they went and even civilians were, collateral damage happened where civilians were involved. But what we're saying is that modern warfare is looking at drones, and these drones are unmanned. And they are, of course, predator drones. They go in there, you don't know they're there, they finish the job and come back. Now, how many do we have? I don't know. But I can tell you, there are some that, in fact, the Israelis themselves have brought out, what they call the swarm. They are like flies. And they go out there, they perch on anything and blow it up. So there are different kinds of things that are happening in modern warfare. And then, of course, these things cost money.
Right.
These things cost money.
All right. So it costs money. Actually, but then we have just been saying, get it, buy it, and all of those things. I know we must have that conversation. That's why we're having it now. My second question is this, the issue of intelligence that Daniel talked about earlier. I'd like to give you an instance to say intelligence will always come up. And these are the things that we see, when it's some group of Nigerians, possibly they're upset about a thing and they want to gather to protest. All of a sudden, you will have intelligence report. Oh, these are the people that want to topple the government. Oh, the time is not right. Oh, this thing should not hold at this time. Oh, somebody wants to protest against high-handedness of the police. The intelligence will be there. How come we don't have this kind of intelligence? And I'm saying it, that, when General Buba made that disclosure and announcement that Lakurawa is now with us in Nigeria, he blamed the defense headquarters, blamed the people and said they are the ones who didn't say something when they saw something and they didn't come up. Nigerians are saying, where were you till they got into Nigeria under whatever guise and penetrated Sokoto to Katsina to Kebbi and all of those things? Where is that intelligence? But tomorrow morning, Mr. Amakre, if some group of Nigerians want to protest and say, oh, we are not satisfied with fair situation in the country, all of a sudden we will see intelligence report. The DSS and the NIA, are they looking the other way?
You got it all wrong.
Okay.
You got it all wrong in the sense that, the intelligence agencies don't go and arrest protesters because they wanted to protest against police or whatever, you know. You have to understand the dynamics of what is going on.
Okay.
And the dynamics are heavy. You know, the police itself, I've said it many, many times, when the police, the Nigerian police force was created to protect the colonialists, you know, and when the colonialists left, a new set of masters come into play. Those are the politicians. And the politicians, instead of behaving now as, you know, citizens, whereby the police is supposed to pursue criminals, they now use the police to protect themselves. And then, of course, they continue what we call regime protection. So any politician that comes into power believes that he wants to have police, you know, the security forces that he will use, you know, to
in
do
2025,
whatever.
is that what we still have?
It's all over the place. Is it? No, it's not only Nigeria. Most African countries, you have them. You know, America is even trying to tend towards that, whereby, you know, they are moving away from democracy and then seeing that the security agencies have to support them. Trump came in and fired a whole bunch of FBI agents. You know, you understand? And what does that mean? It means that he wants people who will say yes sir to him. You know, and that's why I tell you that the intelligence agencies, even the military in Nigeria, you know, are really doing their best, because they are dealing with people who sometimes don't, you know, don't prioritize, you know, intelligence of how to keep the nation one or patriotic, because you find out that that's a major issue, where you find politicians doing something which is not. And it seeps into society, whereby if I ask you right now, you know, who you are, you might tell me, number one, you're a Yoruba guy, you know, before you're a Nigerian, you know, because you will not come out and, you know, say you are a Nigerian, except we are overseas. Even when we're overseas, because we carry a common passport, you say, oh, I'm a Nigerian. But in Nigeria itself, how do you define yourself? Do you say I'm a Nigerian, or you say I'm Yoruba? You know, so this is the situations we have. There are in-depth situations whereby the sense of patriotism is not there. And you find out that police will be designed to take care of the politicians. They take care of politicians. Crime will be going on. Crime will be going on.
All right, Mr. Makri, talking about Nigeria, I have two questions actually, but firstly, let us look at this from a broader perspective. Nigeria is supposed to be the giant of Africa. Considering the recent developments, how do you think these developments will affect the image of Nigeria? For instance, if the giant of Africa cannot protect our own territorial integrity, what does that say about our image? How will it affect our image in Africa? Like you rightly mentioned, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have pulled out of ECOWAS. So these people, they don't have regard for Nigeria as giant of Africa. In fact, they don't believe Nigeria can do anything for them, to protect them, to secure them. Now, how does this affect our image as a nation?
Well, you know, you are very right, but Nigeria remains the giant of Africa because of our population. We are bigger than everybody. We are the largest concentration of black people in the world. Okay? So we remain the giant of Africa, but like Mandela said, Nelson Mandela, of blessed memory, he said, if Nigeria gets it right, then Africa will get it right.
Absolutely.
Because everybody is looking up to Nigeria. That is where the whole leadership will come out. You know, so if we get it right, Africa will get it right.
All right.
If we don't get it right, all the other hunters, you know, the hunters are around now.
Absolutely.
United States of America, France, China, all of them, European Union, they are all in Africa. Some time ago, they came there and divided Africa and shared it. They shared it to themselves. They shared it to themselves.
All right, Mr. Makri. Now, talking about this.
Right now, they are back to do the same thing, you know.
Oh, okay. To the second part of my question, which boils down to the security apparatus in Nigeria. Now, you have said over and over again on this program that you have faith and confidence in our security agencies. But again, some would say we need to do more in terms of security. For instance, there was a time an American citizen was kidnapped, Philip Walton. Navy SEALs from the United States came and rescued him. They were in and out. We didn't even know anything happened. Do you think we have such highly trained officers in Nigeria? People who are trained as the Navy SEALs of America. So don't you think we still have more to do in terms of training and capacity building for our security agencies in this country?
You got it all wrong.
How do you mean, sir?
All wrong, yes. I'll explain to you. The Navy SEALs from the United States came in down there and took out an American citizen who was living in Niger, kidnapped and taken to Nigeria, you know, and they came in there and took him out. And, you know, of course, the movie was very, very interesting. Everybody watched it and clapped. But one thing you don't know is who helped them. The Nigerian DSS helped them. You know, the Nigerian military helped them to get this man out. That's why we're saying that, look, if you have a cooperation among, you know, for different countries, if they come here to say, okay, let us help you. And they will, of course, international help is needed. And there is nothing egoistic about it. You know, they will do a lot. They do that. But many people don't know. They will say, oh, Americans came here and, you know, but they did it. Even when I was in service, there was a terrorist that we arrested in Murtala Mohammed Airport. Google it. The terrorist that captured the Egypt Air and was killing one American and one Israeli every 15 minutes. You know, we arrested him in Murtala Mohammed Airport. But go to that website and check on that. You'll find out that they'll tell you, you know, he was captured in Omar Rezak. That's his name, Omar Rezak. He was captured in Nigeria when trying to cross over to Sudan, and he was arrested with the help of Nigerian security agencies. That's all they will put. They will not tell you exactly what happened. But those of us who are directly involved in it know exactly what happened.
So Mr. Makri, you are saying categorically that we can do it on our own. Because again, you know, we are trying to avoid, you know, being egoistic here. That's like we've been saying. So let's not bring in sentiments here. Don't you think we still need more training? I mean, we have more to do. But according to you, believe our security agencies are good to go. Is that what you're saying? Are we sufficient? Are we capable? Do we have what it takes? Because I actually compared them with the Navy SEALs in America. But you're saying that the Navy SEALs couldn't have done this alone without the help of Nigerian agents. So are you saying that our agents are capable enough to handle terrorism and insurgency in Nigeria?
I think we have to straighten our narrative here, because I don't want you to talk to me and misunderstand me or go and misquote me. What I'm saying is that every nation needs help when it comes to cooperation in dealing with security situations. Navy SEALs came here, one of the best in the world anyway. And of course, the Nigerians help. When I say Nigeria help, it's not that Nigeria dropped from them, dropped with them from the plane and went there and got him, but his location, his where he is and everything, this was supplied by Nigerian intelligence community to the Americans, and they came in and they did their own. We're not saying that we're as good as them. The Inspector General of Police have a special intervention unit that he has trained. I know that the DSS have a special unit too that is specially trained, because they are the ones that, if, for instance, if there is a hijack, a plane hijack in Abuja International Airport now, and there are terrorists in the plane, who do you think will go? You think it's the police? Ordinary policemen will go there. There are special trained forces that are trained for situations like that. But what I'm saying is that we need more of that.
All right.
Even if, in fact, we need special response teams for kidnapping, which is one of the #1 threats that we have in the country right now. Okay. Because we are not facing it squarely, and then it is continuing. Because kidnapping is one that, you know, it happens everywhere, but in some countries you don't try it again. You don't try it because it is not just kidnapping. It's a low-risk, high-yield crime. And you can kidnap anybody you want, but come and collect the money. Come and collect the money is very, very difficult.
Yes. Speaking about abductions and kidnappings, you just used a particular definition now, low risk, high yield kind of business. Why is it still festering here? And it's happening all around the country, actually. And, you know, the NSA spoke, was it yesterday? He was quoted to have said, it is the most difficult thing we are facing. Many of these people, as you see them, their families, he was saying that, you know, when he was trying to hand over some rescued persons to the appropriate authority, their families have given money to these people. All right. And I think he was talking about payment of ransom. He said before that, we'll go after these people. Those bad people are responsible for these horrible, horrible criminal activities. Releasing them is not the end of the story. We will make sure that the justice is done. Anybody who is involved will never see peace with those who have decided to work with them, criminals. We are going to continue. He said further, but I want to also use the opportunity to talk to our people. Please stop giving money to these people. It is one of the worst things that is happening. This is the most difficult thing we are facing. Many of these people, as you see them, their families are giving money to these people, but it did not lead to their own release. No, it is we, the security forces, that have got them out. It is not the money that they are giving. These people, the more you give, the more you are compounding the problems for us. We have never given anybody a dime. We don't, and we don't want people to do so. Please stop it. These are the words of Nuhuri Badu, that's the NSA. Now, just we ask, Mr. Makri, what choice do you give us? You can't protect us. You are asking us to pay ransom. How can a husband be looking at his wife and the abductors then, or his children? There was a time that a family of like 7 or 5 was kidnapped in Abuja. All of them of the same nuclear family. What will you have the people do when you can't prevent the abductions from happening?
Yeah, I in fact, that statement, when he made that statement, of course, on another media, I came out to say that I don't agree with him at all. I don't agree with him in the basis of not paying ransom. Okay? The president himself has come out to say that people should not pay ransom. Yes, fine. But if they don't pay ransom, what do you do as a security agency, you know? And that's why, you know, we've recommended it many times. I keep on recommending it, that we should have a quick response force. A quick response force, just like the SWAT they have in the United States here, special weapons and tactics. These are the ones that when somebody is kidnapped, go in there, get the person out the same day. Here in Nigeria, what happens is that, you know, people are kidnapped, like those ones that the NSA is talking about. Some of them were there for 90 days, some were 45 days. and is telling people not to pay ransom, their families, the kind of trauma, because if you get involved in hostage negotiations, then you will know the kind of trauma that families go through. So we have to set up a quick response team. We have to set up, a family unit, a unit that takes care of the family of kidnapped people. And these people will be talking to them while the kidnap rescue is going on. And we are not saying that, oh, just sit down and wait for the people to call. Yes, let them call, but immediately a kidnap is reported, within the hour, there should be either an airborne unit or a response team that's on the road pursuing these guys.
How are they?
Nigerian kidnappers are so relaxed because
we have to absolutely go
and we have to relax.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Macri, sorry, so that we get it right. This kind of formation that you're talking about, these quick response team, how are they domiciled? Does that mean they will be in every state of the Federation, 36 of them?
Yes,
and the
yes, they have to be in every state of the Federation. Every state you have police, they must be there. Because when something happens, like I told you, within 30 minutes, they should be airborne or they should be on the road after the kidnappers. They cannot be in Abuja and somebody is being kidnapped in Sokoto. Then even the response time is going to be so long. What we're saying is quick response, and quick response time should not be more than 1 hour.
All right, absolutely, Mr. Macri. The key takeaways from you is that we need some reforms here. I wanted to ask you what are the critical reforms we need to, revamp our security system. But you've said it all. We need to have a quick response team. They should be domiciled in every state of Nigeria. The question is, how long do you think this will take? From your experience as an expert, how long do you think it will take to reform, to make these critical changes in our security apparatus in Nigeria for us to have a safer nation?
The president, in his very first announcement, when he was sworn in, mentioned it. I listened to him very carefully and I was happy when he said that the security architecture will be reviewed and there will be a reformation. I was surprised that till now he has been touching and going. He has not touched it really. There's no serious change. The only serious one I know is about the DSS, where he appointed a very serious professional to be in charge.
All right.
And after that, the police.
Thank you, sir.
We've not got any kind of restructure there. And state police, it has been put back into the shelf. Right. Because that is where you bring the policing to the grassroots. Right. And these are all issues that have to be done. Special units, you have to train these people on a regular basis.
We will keep talking about these issues, and of course, till we get to that place where we can sleep with our two very eyes closed, and we are sure that we are going to wake the following day without being kidnapped or killed. Thank you very much. Retired Assistant Director of the DSIs, Mr. Dennis Amakri, MON. Thank you for coming on, and of course, being patriotic at every instance. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we should go and it's everybody's business. If you see something, say something. Absolutely. But you know who you are telling. There's something you want to say.
Absolutely.
We must go.
Yeah, and our leaders in Nigeria should take responsibility. Like he rightly pointed out, the ball stops at the table of the leaders to take the right decisions, make the right moves. Thank you once again for joining us. It's been a wonderful week, and we do this every day from Monday to Friday on the show, Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Do have a wonderful weekend. Emeka Daniel is my name, and of course, you call me Danzigi. Have a wonderful weekend. Let's do this again next week.
And of course, you can have a recap of today's program or other programs we have, had during the week, or the conversations, beautiful ones, very highly intellectual, You might want to have it at your YouTube channel, at our YouTube channel as well, at Western Spring TV, also on our various social media platforms, X, Instagram, Facebook, and even TikTok at Western Spring Television. Femi Ojo is my name. Big shout out to the production team that has worked with us all week. We'll see you again next Monday. Enjoy your weekend, but please be responsible. God bless Nigeria.
Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as they break with facts and clarity? Our news